Hi everyone, I am coming to you from the poor man's gym, or per person's gym, the woods, and so grateful to be able to come here to actually get in touch with something that is real. I have, as I'm sure many of you are, been feeling extremely overwhelmed and just not able to keep up with what is actually going on. But trying my best to understand how all these massive changes are going to be affecting people that I care for, including myself. But anyway, right now, I just was able to find this little trail that I've never been on yet. And so I'm just going to carry you along with me for a bit. And I thought what I would do, since I've been feeling down and I imagine others are, that I would just film myself film the woods as I walk through them a bit, and just do an extemporaneous list of things that I'm grateful for, because that always helps me tremendously shift my mindset. And maybe it can help you a little bit too, to reflect on everything that you are grateful for in your life. So here we go. Oh, I would be doing this right as I hit the biggest mud spot. Okay, I'm grateful for mud spots. I am very grateful to have places like this that I can go in close proximity to where I work. And today is my Friday, even though it's a Saturday. So I just completed a week of work, and so I'm grateful for the fact that I can actually do the work that I'm doing, even though, okay, no buts. I'm not going to add any buts to it. I'm grateful that my hands are still able to type, as they have for 30 years, full time. There's a lot more I could say about what I wish would happen, but that's what I'm grateful for, because it's allowed me to at least earn something of a living and support myself. And I am grateful for this bit of snow. I absolutely love snow, but I don't live in a part of the country that gets a lot of snow. And it's easy to say you love snow when you work from home. I suppose that's the worst of it, is having to commute to work in snow. And I'm grateful for coffee. Every morning I have a cup, actually more than a cup. And I'm grateful that I am able to live in a way that gives me enough space, time, that my personality seems to need for just alone time. But it's more that I don't feel alone. It's more that I feel more connected when I have the space and time, connected to everything. I'm grateful to, what else? There's so much. I'm grateful for my adult child somewhere in the world doing things, good things. I am grateful for my parents still being here and fairly good health, in a time of life that I can only hope to attain, to reach. Okay, now we have a fork in the trail. there is, let me back up. See this little fork? There's mud that way. And then there's tiny, what almost looks like deer path that way. Deer are smart, so I think I'm gonna follow this tiny thing and just see how, oh, no, it's actually a dead end. But it could be a deer path that just goes to a big tree trunk. All right, never mind, I'm going in the mud. I'm grateful that I have a safe place to live, have running water most of the time, except when the well goes out, in a power outage, I mean. I am grateful that I'm alive because that I was able to access modern medicine in order to prevent a cancer from taking my life. And let's see. I'm grateful definitely for my ability to knit. Okay, don't want to film a passerby without their consent, so I'll edit that out. But I am grateful for two different international groups of knitters that I've connected to that all seem aligned with a love of both our craft and nature, and just connecting to things that feel more real than the world that we're so in our phones, which is one reason I'm trying to bring more of that, what is not usually in your phone, into your space, so that you can just experience a bit from wherever you are of trees and just even, I've read that even connecting, even imagining yourself being in the woods and surrounded by nature can have a healing effect. So that's what I choose to believe anyway. And I'm grateful for anyone in this time who is working to help others, thinking of many groups of people that are going to be or are impacted by major societal changes, and just hoping for their safety. And I know myself from having applied to over 200 jobs over the past year that the job market is tough, and so anyone who may lose a job during this time, I feel my heart goes out to you. And let's see. Yes, so I am just grateful that technology allows me to connect with people from all over the world, as I was saying, because I feel like it's amazing that since I don't have money to travel, and I actually, sorry, going through some branches there, I actually am very interested and curious about other cultures and about other ways of doing things. And so in my heart of hearts, I would love opportunities to travel. And I feel like any opportunity we have, even virtual, to connect with people from different locations around the globe is actually a step toward greater understanding that can only reduce fear of the other. I know we definitely don't live in a nirvana world, I guess you could say. There are definitely, terrible, terrible things happening, humans doing to other humans. But if we can just connect to people and actually have a full conversation with people in a different place, rather than learning about a different place from their government or from their whatever political labels they might carry in that country, I feel like that is the only way to really reduce fear and ignorance of others. Okay, enough of my soapbox. I don't know how I got there from gratitude, but here I'm really grateful for these tall trees. Hello, I am going to just talk a bit about the hats that I've been working on, and I wanted to mention 2 other knitting related things. So as mentioned in my last podcast, I had gone to a yarn store in Port Townsend, which is working with me to create kits for the patterns, 3 hat patterns that I have. And I tested it out on this Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok, which is Highland wool. It's just wonderfully soft and cushy worsted weight wool. And I revised the charts for my Fiddlehead Ferns beanie. This one will be, all of the hat patterns will be republished very soon as I get photos, and these are unwashed at this time, so I need to wash them, take photos, and then these samples will be in the store to sell a kit of the Woolstok wool. This color, I believe, I'll list it on the pattern, but I believe this is called English Ivy, perhaps. I should have looked at the labels. Honestly, I did this on the fly. So, but I changed the chart to include, since there's so much empty white space, for those who do stranded knitting, you would know that it's just very challenging to do a lot of background, to carry floats through many stitches. So I created what kind of mimics how the fern is unfurling in clusters, kind of. So there's some that are just like all closed up, and then some that slowly unfurling, and then these are the full fiddlehead curls. So this is one of them, and then the other one that I've tested on that wool, with that wool, is this one, and I updated the charts for it as well to add a 3rd seagull, so there again isn't as much blank space. So this is the Gulls and Waves hat, and again I'll print the color names. This is coming across on the screen as pretty almost black, but it's actually a really nice blue. Let me see if I get more light on it. Oh, there. Now it's like blowing out, but that was closer to the real color. Anyway, so the waves and gulls turned out really nicely with this wool. I'm really happy with it. And the 3rd one will be the fir tree hat, which I will have also made into a kit. And I have reworked the patterns, and like I said, as soon as I get new photos with this specific wool, then I will publish them on Ravelry, and just completely update the patterns that are there. Currently, I took out a lot of extraneous words that I didn't need in those patterns, and took out nature photos. And I mean, it was 2020. It was in the middle of pandemic time. So anyway, those will be updated. And amazingly, out of each skein, I had this amount left. So that's very reassuring that I believe these skeins are 137 yards. And so that you'll be guaranteed to, even if you were to make the hat a little bit taller for your liking, you'd still have likely enough to add a few more rows. So that's reassuring that you can do it in 2 skein hat. Now the next thing I wanted to mention is that I have started a team. So far I am the only team member of my team, but you can look it up on the Give Butter site. This is for a group called Knit for Food, where we knit for 12 hours and raise funds for 4 different organizations that provide food to those in need. One is No Kid Hungry, one is Feeding America, third is World Central Kitchen, and the 4th is Meals on Wheels. And so I just, every year for the past 4 years, this is the 5th year they're doing it, but for 4 years I've participated and just raised a tiny amount. And this is the first time I'm trying to do it as a team. So I would love anyone, it could be just anyone virtual that lives anywhere in the US, to join my team. If you look on givebutter.com and look up Knit for Food, you can find my team name, which is Waterwoman Knits. Today is actually the Super Bowl, and I'm taking this opportunity when everyone I know is watching it to record this. I have nothing against people who love football and love the Super Bowl, but I personally have never been a fan, and so I have some kind of interesting stories from the years that I have not watched it, when literally everybody in an entire town has. One time I attended a movie that was like top box office, sold out every single theater, and I actually was so ignorant that the Super Bowl was even happening that I just showed up at this theater when it was happening, and I literally was the only person in the entire theater. So I had the full movie experience to myself that year. And another just kind of funny thing is that I transcribed patient medical records for 20 years for hospitals. And at one particular instance, our work was expected to meet 99.5% accuracy. So there was constant weekly quality checks on our work. And several of my reports ended up going through spelling Super Bowl instead of Super Bowl, about that when the Super Bowl was like mentioned in a medical record, because often people eat, I guess, things that are more harmful to them and end up in hospitals. Anyway, I just thought that was hilarious, like a hilarious mistake to make. And so those are my memories of the Super Bowl. Anyway, I just thought that I would mention, because I know there's a lot of people that are facing potential job loss right now with all the changes that are happening. I want to give a shout out to my absolute favorite professor out of last year, a series of graduate school classes I took online in public health. And my absolute favorite professor worked for the EPA. So I want to just say a shout out to those people who are in those positions, who are like salt of the earth people, really committed to public service. And just really my heart goes out to federal workers who may lose their job. Recently, I gave some, because I have personally applied to 200 jobs with no luck over the past year, I gave some advice to someone about how I coped with an interview I had that they found very helpful. So I just thought I would share that. And the idea is that you kind of reflect on both your work and your personal experience that touches on whatever the job is that you're applying for, and just mentally fill yourself with everything that has been an action that you've taken or a part of you that connects to that experience. And it's almost like the way I described it is like picturing yourself as a vessel, and you're filling yourself up with all the wisdom that you personally have about whatever the position, the topic that you're applying for. And then, at least for me, it allowed me to enter a job interview with 5 people, which I totally wasn't expecting. I thought I'd be interviewed by one individual, and remain completely calm. That is a first for me. I normally, that type of situation would have made me anxious. And so by doing this trick of imagine you're a vessel and you're filling yourself up with all the wisdom you have from your life and work experience, and even things that may not seem related, but you have some emotional connection to it that you can collect from your life as wisdom. And then imagine yourself pouring that wisdom out of yourself as this vessel. You're pouring the wisdom into that interview. So it helped me, and it's another person had told me that it helped them in an interview. So I thought I'd share that. And then I thought I would also share another sort of, I come up with all sorts of self-healing things because, I don't know, just on the fly. I don't always read a lot of self-help books, but instead I just kind of create things that work for me. And this one thing that I tried, I took 2 days away from everything, which is really rare for me over the past 20 years. Unless I'm literally out of work, I have worked pretty much most of the time and many weekends. But I took 2 days off from everything, and I was feeling in this moment particularly fragmented inside myself, and just like, it's very easy, I find, to, when you are working so hard and trying so hard, to sometimes feel that you are of any value in this world, or in the way that things are set up in society, and that it's easy to turn it in on yourself, is what I'm saying, I guess. So in order for me to kind of imagine feeling whole while dealing with that sense of kind of like feeling like I am worthless to the, I mean, it's tough when you put out more than 200 job applications and get nothing, no bites, not even rejections, really. And I know the only reason I'm sharing this is that I know this is a current common thing, that I've met many others who have done the same thing over the past year or two. And so this one activity, I sat down with a bag of just colorful markers, and I thought, I'm just going to map my life and use just a different color for every year of my life. Now, I did this enough years ago that I would when I started this, I genuinely did not realize that I would really need to have like what are those papers called? Those big flip chart. I would need like a flip chart size paper. And all I had was drawing paper. So I did this. The goal is to like have it be a massive circle, for however many years of your life. And my goal was just to map out every single memory that I could have, that I had of any emotionally significant event in my life. So even some of them have nothing to do with accomplishments or that type of thing, not like, graduated from school, whatever. It can be whatever is a memory that you carry from that year in your life. And this was so impactful to me that I thought I would share it, because it helped me just suddenly feel so much more full of life and feel whole, because I wasn't feeling very whole. So, the details are not important, but this is the idea, is that you put your name in the center, and then you just start drawing a line for every single year of your life, and then out from that circle. And if you are over 40, I would suggest using a flip chart size paper. But so this would have been, in other words, these are some of the years that I ended up having to go vertical because there wasn't enough space. But I just found that a very helpful thing, and maybe it helps someone feel more worthy in themselves, or more connected to seeing their life as some kind of a whole, if you have experienced disruption or trauma, which most of us have. So I guess this podcast is turning into a support network. I don't know. But these are really tough times we're in, and I just thought, whatever, if I can help one person, I'll just put it out there. I intend to stay more on knitting for the future, but you never know. This could go different ways. I don't intend to talk for 60 minutes on non-knitting content, but just kind of responding to things that are happening. And also just want to shout out to the Ivy Can group that I just joined, who are a group of wonderful knitters from around the world. I got to meet people in various countries, and it's just so wonderful that Philip and Alini host this space, so that we can all meet together and just chat as if you're sitting in the same room. It's really wonderful, and I'm glad that I joined that group. So seek out, if you feel like you're the odd one out, I can just want to reassure you that there are spaces where you may feel more a sense of belonging, and you just have to really seek them out. So anyway, I really thank you for watching, and yeah, these hats will be available as soon as I get with the store owner and republish my patterns, hopefully within the next, my goal is like within 2-week period, get that all set. And yeah, I recommend Blue Sky Woolstok Fibers. And I also, one last tidbit knitting related, is that my test knit that I've been working on is it involves a lot of those make one, make left increases in the knitting. And I suddenly came up with a mnemonic that helped me remember what direction you are doing the stitches in order to achieve make one right or make one left. So the make one right, you pick up back to front and then through the front loop. The way I remember this is that occurred to me is that acronym would be BFF, Best Friend Forever. So I figured Best Friend Forever is the right thing. BFF, right, makes one right. FFB, the make one left, is front, picking up through the front loop and then picking front to back and then knitting through the back loop. I know, I'm pretty sure this would only make sense to a handful of people, but I just thought I'd mention it because it just worked like a charm, and now I'll never forget the make one left, make one right thing. So I will talk to you later. I hope to get another podcast maybe in 2 weeks once I do have more progress on my knits and hopefully complete the loom sweater and hopefully, get my hats published. So take care, and I hope everyone just hangs in there in these times.